Oi, oi, hello and welcome to another GG.CO.UK trends video. In this episode, I will be talking you through the key trends for the Paddy Power Gold Cup and the Greatwood Hurdle, both at Cheltenham's November Meeting, a 3-day fixture starting this Friday, running through to Sunday. There is some decent action elsewhere this weekend. Loads of good racing on both sides of the Irish Sea. It's really starting to ramp up as we hit the middle of November. It's going to be interesting to see how things continue to pan out. We've had enough time now that the season is fully underway. There'll be some trainers that have got horses running well. There'll be some trainers that have got horses not maybe running so well. So that argument about trainer form will continue through every season, but we've got some pointers to see what might come forward to a November meeting. We've had the October meeting. Some of that form does typically carry through, but those two big races are the ones that I'm going to focus my attention on in this video. Now, I'll talk about a jump season preview that we recorded a little bit earlier. That can be found at the end of the video. We'll put it in the slides, but also they'll put a card above this video. If you haven't seen that before, go and have a look. We talk about a few horses to follow, answer some questions from the crowd, and answer some key questions throughout the rest of the jump season that are not just about the Cheltenham Festival. But like I say, we're going to talk about the November meeting. We're going to talk about two races in particular. There will be a link in the description for each of the written articles. Now, I go into much more detail in each of those, where I'm talking about maybe age ranges or maybe weight ranges or maybe season form or historical form. I do go into more detail in the article, so I think it's worth a look. It wouldn't take you very long to skim through that. And of course, we talk about this in lots of trends videos. I'm not trying to say that you will definitely be able to find the winner by using these, but there are some races that we do seem to be able to profile better than others, which is why I write those articles, which is why I do these videos, and also it gives us a chance to talk racing. So, all that said, let's have a little crack on. We'll go for the Paddy Power Gold Cup first. We've got 8 top line trends that are in here. But as I say, in the article, you'll be able to see the depth that goes behind. I guess you can put your own weight in on the significance of each of the trends and where they are. The pecking order that they're done in is pretty much the pecking order that I create the files in. Some of them, again, can be open to interpretation. And it might be that some years, which has happened in some of the other trends, we whittle too many horses out on trends 1, 2 and 3, and you have to give a little bit of a chance. So you need to sort of balance that sort of thing in there as well. But they do tend to be quite profile-y type contests. This is a big handicap at the start of the year. Trainers know what it takes to win a race. And again, being creatures of habit, the trainers that do well in certain races will have a certain profile horse that will come in there. Sometimes they're missed in the market, often they're not, but these can help you whittle out why horses may be getting backed, maybe why horses are being unliked. And of course, like I say, these should be used alongside your form study. If you've got a horse that doesn't tick all the trends, it's a bigger price than you thought it would be. Maybe it's because it doesn't tick all the trends, it's a bigger price. Some of these will be standout trends though, where basically horses can't win if they're X, Y or Z. So again, look in the articles to find those specifics, but I'll talk about them if they need to be said at the top line trends. So trend number 1 for the Paddy Power Gold Cup, they're most likely to be aged between 7 and 9 years old. They account for 90% of the winners in the last decade. And then I think it moves up to maybe 85% or 75%, I think, this century. So not necessarily a fully turning trend, but 75% of winners this century are aged 7 to 9. In the last 10, it's been 9 winners that have been aged 7 to 9. So that does look the window to be on at this point anyway. Trend 2, they should carry 10 stone 6 or less, or 10 stone 13, to 11 stone. So quite niche within the way that that's said. Again, when you read the article, it will go into a little bit more detail, but it's a tricky window to find in the Paddy Power Gold Cup because most winners have carried 11 stone or less. That's only been profitable to follow blind in the last decade. So I've looked at the last century, I've looked at the last 10 to try and find, profile, is there some turning trends in there? I'd still suggest, though, that the preference will go to horses carrying 11 stone or less, and I'd be extra cautious of horses carrying more than 11.5 stone. Trend 3 is officially rated between 137 and 147. Preferably, they're above 141. So just to cover a little bit more into there, that is the sweet spot, 137 to 147. It's going to be losing money, though, if you just bet every horse that fit that profile blind. Quite a lot of horses would fall into there. In more recent years, if you brought the bottom line up to 141, that would include 6 of the last 7 winners from the last decade, and that makes backing horses blind in that profitable. So even a mouthful for me to say there, which is why I do the top line trends, but a bit more depth behind some of these. Doesn't have to be the be all and end all, but I'd like to at least talk about my workings, even if you can rick it yourself anyway. Trend 4 has raced at Cheltenham more than once. We talk about course form in lots of these races. Cheltenham is the holy grail, right? So lots of horses will want to be here anyway, but probably just being here is, okay, box ticked, but really you want them to have been here more than once. Trend 5, they raced at 19.5 or 20 furlongs last time out. So that's 2 mile, 3.5 or 2 mile 4. That is quite a prominent trend. Again, there's more detail behind that in the article. Trend 6 has won between 19 furlongs and 21 furlongs. So 2 mile 3 to 2 mile 5. And has raced 7 times at these types of trips. So where we're saying they should have won at those trips, should have really raced it there 7 times as well. So horses that haven't run as many times, maybe you want to forgive them if they haven't won. I wouldn't. I'd want to see them win. But also I'd want to see them win and have had enough experience at the distance too. Trend 7 has 6+ runs over fences and 2+ wins. So again, from a strike rate perspective in there, that could massively vary. You could have a horse that's got 2 wins but had 25 starts. You're looking for 6 runs over fences as a minimum and 2 wins as a minimum too. Trend 8, previous graded winners are respected. This is a grade 3 handicap. There will be horses that are graded winners over hurdles or further back in their career. They do need to be respected when coming into a race such as this. So Paddy Power Gold Cup may be found. And the interesting thing to couple these two is there are short-term anti-post markets. But when we get final declarations, these are the types of races that it might be worth, if you whittle your shortlist down to 2 or 3, to put maybe 2 or 3 in from the Paddy Power Gold Cup, 2 or 3 in from the Greatwood Hurdle, and you can look at doing some cross doubles across the 2 of them for small stakes and potential returns in there. So what would it take to win a Greatwood Hurdle? Again, link in the description for the full article, but the top line trend, 7 of them here, is not aged older than 7 and preferably isn't aged 6. So that's a little bit niche. We'll talk about that one a tiny bit more. Most winners this century were 5-year-olds. So we've had about 50% across the century and in the last 10. They operate at the highest strike rate because they account for the most amount of runners, but they've got the most amount of wins. They do show a profit when back in blind, about 10% return on investment. 6-year-olds are consistently a big loss maker to follow blind across both periods, which is why we're talking about the age that they should be. But maybe want to sort of look at 6-year-olds maybe as a negative, put a little dot against their name. The winner of this race, there's only been one that's been aged younger. Well, there's only been one that's been aged 8, and that was Rooster Booster. That 8-year-old's the only winner in this history, I think, that was 8-year-old as well. So really 7 and younger. They're sort of looking 7 to 5, but 4-year-olds have won 2, but maybe 6 would be seen as a negative. Friend 2 is not the favourite. There haven't been a winning favourite since 2006. Now, I would say this, and every time we look at trends like this, some people will say glass half full, we're due a favourite. Others would say bad race of favourites. Do what you want with that. Trend 3 has course form, preferably winning course form. Touched on the Paddy Power that you want to have 2 runs or more at Cheltenham. Running here is okay for this race. Preferably, though, if they've been here, you want them to win. So that might be the easiest way to whittle them down. Trend 4 has run in the past 60 days or has strong, fresh form. So that basically could cover everything, couldn't it? But if you've got horses that run well fresh, then, you'd let them go here fresh. If you've got horses that have run in the last 60 days, then it doesn't matter if they've got good form fresh or whether they need the run. They've had the run. So you basically want to see a horse that's run in the last 60 days. If not, and they're a horse that has won fresh multiple times, then you wouldn't worry about them. But if you've got a horse that hasn't got good form fresh and is coming in fresh, just avoid them. Trend 5 is carrying between 10 stone 8 and 11 stone. So it's tricky again with some of the weight bands and the official rating bands in some of these handicaps. They can change a little bit from season to season, but that would be the window you'd probably look at if you needed to get as far down as whittling it by that. Trend 6, you'd be looking for horses that finished second last time out. Bit of a niche one, and this would be more of a respecting runners rather than looking for them, but there's a reasonable record when we look at last time out of horses that finished second. We've got horses that especially finished first and second. That account for half the winners in this century and in the last decade. Backing horses who won last time out isn't profitable. Backing horses who finished second last time out is profitable. So probably want to look for top 2, but you'd prefer the one that comes second than the ones that come first. Maybe strangely enough. Trend 7 has run 8 or fewer times, but won twice or more. So that's quite a small window that can fall in there. We're obviously looking for horses that are progressive but not exposed yet, but have got the ability to win and the tenacity to do so. So 8 runs or fewer, but won twice or more. So that sums up the Greatwood trends. As I say, we've done the Paddy Power. Might be a couple of races you want to put blocks against the 2 of them. We'll continue to put up some more of these trends videos. I'll do something else, I think maybe next week, to do reviewing, easy for you to say, the November meeting and what those pointers could mean towards the the spring, and also we're looking towards the Christmas period. If you drop any comments below what you fancy for this weekend, or any bits of insight or any bits of content you'd like to see, then we really appreciate that. Drop a like on the video if you've liked the video and you'd like to do so. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can check out details in the description about how to join the channel. That support's really appreciated too, but anything you can do, we appreciate. Even just watching the video, we love you for doing that as well. And we'll see you again next week.